Welcome to another edition of Chief's Corner. I'm Fire Chief Mike Meyer, and today I'm joined by District Chief Tabor Aiken. Welcome, Tabor.
Thanks, Chief.
What are we doing tonight for training as far as what does this encompass that we're doing here at this site?
We are working on firefighter safety and survival tonight, and we have 3 separate stations that firefighters will be rotating through.
Okay, let's talk about the one right behind us that we can see a little bit of smoke coming out the window. What does that one entail?
Sure, so firefighters in that scenario would be working through a mayday where a firefighter has entered the building, has become trapped. The original path that the firefighter used is now blocked. In this scenario, would be pretending that it's blocked by fire, and that what we would call the RIT crew, the rapid intervention team, needs to go in and get that firefighter and get back out.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very quick entry and exit and moving quickly with the firefighter. They're also going to be using an unconventional method of getting in this case a window, because the doorway is now blocked.
Okay, excellent. And how about we have another house a little bit further behind us there. We're going to be doing some scenarios in there. Same thing, I believe, right?
Correct. We'll be doing another mayday scenario there, similar where the downed firefighter is trapped. In this particular case, they're going to be in the interior of the building, trapped inside a room, and the door they came in is now closed and can't be used. So the firefighters are going to have to work on going in a different way. And in this particular scenario, they're going to work on going in through a wall. And so breaching a wall and then bringing that firefighter back out. This creates a challenge because the walls are going to be more narrow than we are, especially once we have packs and all our gear on. And so firefighters are going to have to work how they get through there and then how they get back out with the firefighter. In some cases, it'll mean taking their SCBA, their air pack off. They can't disconnect from it, of course, because they need that air, but they're going to have to work with it, not on their back like we typically do. And so it creates a challenge for communication, teamwork, a little bit of creativity, and getting it in. And then, of course, now when you come back out, you have a firefighter with you, which in our scenario will be an unconscious person. So you're going to have to take care of that person and get them back out.
Okay, and then our third scenario we have over at the White House over there.
Correct. And so our third scenario is a little bit more focused on the self-rescue initially, and one of the scenarios is what we would call a bailout, where firefighters are on the second level of the building. In this particular scenario, this one is less of a scenario and more just of working through how we do this. It's a little more of a class, but they'll be bailing out of a second-story window. So coming out head first onto a ladder and then doing a pivot so that they're right side up basically, and then they can walk themselves down the ladder. So that's a scenario that we could encounter in a situation, a structure fire, where the heat has become too intense, possibly the room has flashed over. We need to bail out quickly.
Okay, and then there's one more in there you said also.
Correct, there is. There's another one on the lower level where we've been able to actually make a hole into the basement, so that floor is open. And so the firefighters will be practicing a couple of different kinds of rescue for someone who's gone through a basement. So for example, if you had a basement fire, the floor has become compromised, firefighters fall through that floor, you now need to get them back out. How are you going to do it?
How frequently do we do this training as far as these methods of getting in and out of buildings?
We formally do firefighter safety and survival twice. This is something that is part of our work, so it's built into other training scenarios that we might be working on and having conversations about, practicing communications or other things like that. But formally we dedicate 2 times a year to making sure all of our firefighters get to go through a firefighter safety and survival training.
Excellent, and it's a great opportunity that we have a couple of these buildings that are available to us for training versus trying to figure out how we do it at a station or our training site. This puts a little more realism to that, correct?
It does, and I'm not sure how many people understand how important this is to us, because we can certainly have training facilities like the ABLE facility in Burnsville that we get to use, outstanding facility. However, we know that facility very well because we've been there a lot. So it's very difficult to get disoriented, very difficult to be unfamiliar with where you are. Whereas here, most of our firefighters have not been inside these buildings, so when they go in a couple of minutes it'll be dark. We've smoked one of the buildings up with fake smoke, so it's going to be more challenging to operate in there, which is very similar to what it would be like for us on an actual call.
Excellent. Thank you for joining me on Chief's Corner, and I appreciate all the info on the training.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Chief.